Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. In this video, we're going to talk about the materials for week 6, UHLB 11-12. As you can see here in the first slide, we're going to talk about organizing a presentation. We will talk about an outline, opening, body, closing, and finally we will talk about using appropriate signposting. So let's start with the first part. The first thing you need to know about presenting a lecture, or let's say organizing or preparing a presentation, is let's say how to prepare or how to make an outline. Let's see first what an outline is. An outline is the short, let's say, version of an essay. It is the short version of a piece of text that gives us the most important information included in the text. So as you can see here, we say it's a simplified version of a text. It can be a summary of the text in short phrases and words. An outline does not have to be in the form of sentences. An outline is different from a summary. We said an outline can be like a summary, but it's different from a summary because a summary is written in complete sentences. A summary is written in the form of a paragraph, while an outline is written sometimes like separate sentences or like, let's say, only notes. Later on, there will be examples that I will present to you to make it, let's say, more clear to know what exactly an outline is. So, the thing is, we need an outline because of two main reasons. First, preparing good outline can help you throughout your academic career. Why? Because you're going to study and you're already actually studying many different books. So there's a lot of information in the books, let's say too many chapters. So something you need to do while you're studying, let's say, different chapters of the book is to try to highlight the important parts, or try to make an outline of the important parts, the important points of, for example, each chapter, so it is easier for you later to have a quick review of what you have already studied, because it might be difficult and very time consuming to, let's say, go through all you've studied from the beginning to the end again. So an outline will help you have a quick review of the materials that you have already studied or read. So this is one reason why we make an outline. So here, you can write down the important parts on each page, the important parts, for example, of each chapter. So later you can take a quick look at that and have a review. Another reason why we make an outline is for the purpose of lecturing. Once you prepare a lecture, that lecture can be the information that you yourself have you have gathered, you've put together, which is in the form of, for example, an essay. Or sometimes you are asked, for example, to present the information in a piece of text or in an essay. Well, one thing that you can do is to memorize all the sentences, which is not a good idea because of two reasons. First, it's not lecturing anymore, because once you're interrupted, you may not be able to continue because you may lose concentration. The second thing is that, sometimes, especially in the general English courses, lecturing is a means that can help you to improve your speaking, while memorizing all the information and repeating the sentences cannot help you much. So the second reason for making an outline is for lecturing. That means you write down the very important points that you're going to discuss, that you're going to talk about, and then you can have it in, let's say, form of notes. So you can look at the notes, you can look at the important points and explain them one by one, and this helps you to, let's say, not to forget the important information through your lecturing. So these are the two important reasons why you need to learn to make an outline. Well, in order to be able to create a good outline, you need to understand the structure of an essay, the structure of, let's say, a piece of text. When we talk about an essay, there are three main parts. The first part of an essay is introduction. The second part is body, let's say, that includes different body paragraphs. And the last part of the essay is a conclusion. We have to know these three parts. And besides that, we need to know where we can normally find the most important information included in a piece of text. Well, for example, when we talk about the introduction, normally the most important sentence, or let's say the main idea of the whole essay, is expressed at the end of the introduction. That is where you can find the thesis statement. By thesis statement, we mean a sentence that expresses the whole idea that is discussed in the text or in the essay. So you need to know this to know that the last sentence, that is the thesis statement, must be written down in your outline, or it can be either the complete sentence itself, or it can be only a few words from that sentence that help you, first of all, highlight the important information, the subject, the idea about the subject, and then to help you remember that this is something important and you have to explain in your presentation. And then, speaking of the body paragraphs, every body paragraph, normally the body paragraphs start, by a topic sentence in which the main idea of that paragraph has been explained. So if you're looking for, let's say, the most important information to be highlighted, to be written down, let's say in an outline, you need to be careful about the beginning sentence of every paragraph, because normally the first sentence is where you can find the topic and the main idea of that paragraph. And then later in the following sentences of the body paragraph, you can find important supporting details and also examples. So you can take notes about them, highlight them, or writing them, so you can remember the important points. And finally, we have the conclusion. The conclusion is kind of a restatement of the thesis statement, and let's say a very brief summary of the important points that have been explained in the body paragraphs. And you need to be careful. The things that we said about the structure of an essay or a piece of writing, let's say, is not absolute. It's not like you will always find, for example, the topic sentence at the beginning. This is normally what it has to be like. Probably the topic sentence of a paragraph has not been mentioned at the beginning. Probably the main idea is to be inferred. By inferred, I mean there's no clear sentence that tells you the main idea of the paragraph. Instead, you will have to read the paragraph carefully, and then you can form the main idea in your mind for yourself. You can infer, you can conclude that, okay, this is the topic and this is the main idea of this paragraph based on the information that you can find in the paragraph itself. Well, there are some tips here about how to make an outline. So again, before talking about these tips, in an outline, to prepare an outline, you will read the paragraphs one by one, and then you will highlight the important points, the important words, the important details, or let's say the parts that, let's say, mention the main idea and the topic, and then you can write them down. And you can write them down either in the form of, let's say, sentences, or in form of only notes, like only words and phrases. So the first tip is that you may want to add some notes. Let's say sometimes you can choose the notes from the text itself. You take these words out, you highlight them and write down exactly the same words. And sometimes you may find it easier and more, let's say, helpful to write your own notes that can help you understand what the main idea of the paragraph is. And as I told you, the notes do not have to be necessarily in the form of sentences. They can be sentences or only words and phrases. In preparing an outline, in an outline itself, grammar and punctuation are not very important, because we do not write complete sentences and we do not write paragraphs. And we say an outline can be very brief, including only the titles and topics without ideas. So this is, let's say, about making an outline using only words that let you know what the important words of the paragraph, let's say, are, and then later you can explain them in your presentation.